Thanks so much for choosing to listen to Good Children. Don't forget to rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify and any other podcast platform, I guess, that's out there.
We also have a Patreon. It's $7. We have all different stories that we're sharing there. We go live sometimes. We have a lot of ideas. We might bring our moms on the Patreon.
Yeah, you want moms? Guess what? $7 premium rate.
Premium rate. 1 episode a week.
Every Friday.
Every Friday.
And don't forget to follow us at Good Children Pod on Instagram for updates, for tour information, merch information, general life updates, season 2 finale information, etc., etc.
We're almost at 10K.
We're almost at 10K. Give us that. Look at that. We're almost at 10K for Andrew's TikTok and the Good Children Instagram. Let's just round it out.
Let's round it out.
And we're almost at 10K actually on YouTube. So let's just round out all 3 of those. Like, if we can just get every single one of those to be 10K by August, I feel really good about that.
I feel really, really good.
And now for the episode.
1, 2, 3, 4. Here in the Cherry Valley, Morrisville campus rings with cheer. That's where our Legion Boy State meets this year. We learn to live together, learn democracy, a melting pot of color, creed, and nationality. Joe, you honestly did a really good job your first time around.
Let's just get right into it.
Yeah.
I guess a somber Good Children, if you will. 1, 2, 3.
Good children.
Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Good Children, the podcast where hosts Joe Hegyes
And Andrew Muscarella
reflect on our 22 years of friendship.
Growing up in the late 2000s, early 2010s.
And all of the nostalgia,
trauma,
and military camps that go along with it. Okay, Andrew. So when was this?
This was going into summer of 2013. I was 17 years old.
Describe your vibes at 17 years old for the class.
My vibes at 17 was I was giving like a young president in the making. I definitely was doing everything.
What political party would the president have run for?
He absolutely would have ran for the Republican Party.
Okay.
I was definitely doing everything in my power to boost my resume.
And how did this come along?
So I caught wind that the American Legion was on their way to Farmington.
What is the American Legion?
The American Legion is, I think it's basically like a group of past veterans.
Okay.
That were on their way to different schools in New York to interview top candidates for Boys State. And by top candidate, it normally was like top of the class.
Right.
Or peak, like somebody who wants to be in the military.
Okay.
So I was both of them, basically.
You wanted to be in the military?
No, I'm kidding.
Right.
But I did want to be top of the class.
So walk me through the interview process. What was that like for you?
The interview process took place in the guidance office. It was definitely when I walked into the guidance office, I was feeling like I was the shit. I was like, I'm here.
Was anyone else interviewing from your school?
There were a few others. Interviewing, I was brought into a room with this older man, and he was just asking me, like, what I'm looking for my future, basically.
And do you recall some of your answers?
I'm sure I was saying that I wanted to run for office at some point. I'm sure that I was talking about, like, being top of the class, being involved in all of these different things. Like, my motive here, Joe, I really wanted to get into Georgetown.
Right. And
Bill Clinton was a Boy Stater. So I said if Bill
Clinton went to Georgetown?
And he went to Georgetown.
Some people don't know that. Like, I wouldn't know that, you know?
And some people do. And that's me. And I said if Bill Clinton went to Boy State, I'm going to Boy State. If he went to Georgetown, I'm going to go to Georgetown.
Right, of course.
So I think I probably finagled that into the interview process, saying, like, some former greats.
Some former greats.
At the time.
Bill Clinton.
Different times, yeah.
Was it different? It was
No,
like
well,
2013.
Listen, like, I was a different person.
Yeah, but I'm shocked that you were even pro Bill Clinton at that time.
I was just pro, like...
Getting into Georgetown.
Yeah, that's honestly the truth.
How did you feel the interview went?
I felt the interview went really well, but I knew that I was up against some other competition that I was like, you know what? I'm a little bit nervous
Were you
here.
sick to your stomach prior?
Oh, absolutely. I was like, this is actually make or break for me personally in the trajectory of my life and my career.
Of course.
So I felt sick to my stomach after it was over, and you needed to wait a few weeks to find out the results.
Around what time of year is this?
I'm interviewing around April.
Of junior year?
Yes.
Okay, right.
Of junior year because
sense.
it's taking place in June.
Wow.
Yeah, so they let us know in May.
During Pride Month. I remember you telling me about Boys State, and the immediate first reaction I had to it was, oh, so it's gay camp?
Yes. Well, I think it was, you immediately said it was gay camp, which I was like, Joe, that's so messed up. You know I'm not gay. And second, like, I think it was also pitched as almost a fat camp.
Oh my God, it
Yes.
was kind of, I think, like, I do believe it was fat gay camp.
It was fat gay conversion camp.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what happened.
I think that's what ensued.
More of the mission of the camp.
I kind of,
ways.
I feel like looking back on it now, yeah, that was exactly the mission. At least that's how I interpreted it.
It'd be such a good time for an ad break. You know what I mean?
We should put in a random ad.
This episode was brought to you by the American Legion.
I got the news.
When?
I got the news in May that I was going to Boys State.
Were you freaking the fuck out?
It felt like I won the lottery. Joe, I'm not even kidding.
When did you know what Boys State was? When did you learn what it was?
My guidance counselor brought it up to me.
In what month?
Probably like February.
So February, you learn that Boys State is a thing that happens.
Correct.
By April, you're interviewing for it, and May, you're freaking out like you won the lottery because you're in. Okay.
And again, I had no idea what this was.
What did you think it was?
I thought it was, so they pitched it as like, you're gonna go to this campus in New York with 1,000 other boys from New York.
Oh my God. It writes itself.
And you're basically gonna like raise the ranks by running for office. It was definitely like, you're learning democracy, you're learning like things, political things, like.
Sorry, I'm eating a turkey sausage sandwich.
No, as you should. Again, I'm so upset it was on a croissant.
It's on a croissant?
Joe, I texted you. I said, listen, I want a English muffin, and then I saw him slapping croissants
The thing
down.
is, when it comes to Dunkin' Donuts croissant, this is barely a croissant. Like, this is fine by me.
Yeah.
I don't like the flakiness of a croissant in a sandwich.
Well, I normally like a croissant, bacon, egg, and cheese, or a sausage, egg, and cheese, but sometimes Dunkin' Donuts is hit or miss.
It's a miss today.
It's a miss today.
Continue.
So I was like, I'm going to learn so much. That's going to help me. Because I was going into college for political science at the time.
You wanted to become the president of the United States?
I wanted to become the president of the United States. And I won that superlative in high school. Most likely to become president.
So you're like, I'm going to this camp.
Yes.
That Bill Clinton went to.
Yes.
Bill Clinton went to the college I want to go to.
Yes.
And I'm going to have to meet 1,000 new boys.
Yes.
And campaign for fake political office.
Yes.
And if I win this campaign, this will reflect really good on my resume.
Yes, correct.
And ideally will be one of the first steps toward my eventual presidential election of the United States.
Correct.
Got it.
Yes.
So your understanding of this camp is you're walking in there and every day is basically like networking. It's like playing politics.
It's playing politics. And I thought there was going to be a lot more opportunities for fun. I didn't know the twist of all twists, but we're going to get there.
So now it's June.
It's June. I'm getting ready.
So you're packing your bags in May. You're like, I got it.
And they gave us a packing list.
What was the packing list?
Khakis.
Right.
Running shoes.
And you said, huh?
I said running
There's
shoes.
some walking involved.
Sunscreen. No need to bring shirts. They're going to provide us with shirts.
Okay.
One nice outfit. And that was about it. So I brought my duffel bag. I'm ready. I'm meeting everybody in Garden City. Like, we're the Long Island group going.
Was that planned?
Yes. It was
And
like
like a
everybody
Facebook
from
group?
Long Island is going to be meeting. Yes, a Facebook group going to be meeting at this location.
What was the location?
It was definitely like a
Someone's
parking
house?
lot. No,
Oh,
it was like a
okay.
parking lot.
Okay.
With
So
like
you're
a
pulling
few
up with
coach
your
rows.
mom and dad into the parking lot.
Yes.
Are you like a little sick here, or are you like excited?
I'm a little bit sick. It's a mix of everything. It was like I'm sick, but like I'm so excited. Like they're sending me off. This was like obviously before we went to college, so I was like, this is
like
my
your
opportunity.
First time really like feeling that. I mean, you went to like sleepaway camp though.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
You've been in this situation in similar ways.
Yes.
However, this does feel like the bit most adult leap yet.
It felt different.
Yeah, because you could leave this week, President of the United States.
And like, yeah, I could have. I get on the bus. I'm now immediately sick. I'm like, what am I doing?
What are the clientele like? What are the other boys in Boys State like?
They're mostly like muscle twinks. And I'm being completely
the
honest.
The last phrase I ever expected you to just say was muscle twinks. They were twunks?
They're twunks.
Okay. And that freaked you out.
Yeah. So I'm like, what's going on here? So I sit down on the bus. People are starting to come up to me and shaking hands. They're already getting the game going.
What do you mean?
They're saying, hey, I'm Brandon. I'm from blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm looking to run for blah, 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 blah. So people are already putting themselves out there.
So, like, they're like mini 45-year-old adults?
Yes.
They're going,
already running for
I'm
office.
I'm from Massapequa. I'm hoping to be treasurer.
Yes.
Shaking hands.
Correct.
And you're then like,
what the fuck am I getting myself into? I was like, in high school, I felt like a bigger fish, right? I'm like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
On this bus,
you were like, I'm a loser.
I'm a loser freak fatty that doesn't belong here.
Did you start playing the game?
No. I actually, this was one of the times that I retreated from the game completely.
Wow.
And I started catching wind.
On the bus?
I started catching wind from people. I want to be in the military. I want to be in the military.
Oh, so you're hearing most of the twunks are saying...
Most of the people on this bus want to be in the military. So I'm like, what do you mean? Where am I going? What is going on here?
Wait, so on the bus it starts clicking to you that Boys State might be a military camp?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Everyone's like, there's a lot of camo bags. And then I started hearing people talk about the military. So I turned to the person next to me and I was like, I'm sorry, are we going to like a military camp? And they're like, yeah, you didn't know that Boys State's run by the Marines?
Boys
State's run by the Marines? I actually I wish I could feel. I don't want to feel that feeling again, but it felt like I was dead.
Yeah, you were like, oh my god, I just signed myself up to go to military camp run by the Marines. I'm an anxious, extremely stressed, closeted, fat, gay kid who just wants to be president.
Just wants to be president solely for attention. And like now looking back on it, that's what it was. But like I was like, I just want to be president. I just want to be governor of this event. And then we get to SUNY Morrisville. Did you know that was a place?
I never. Is that a Marine? Is it like a military college?
No, it was a SUNY camp. Well, they had definitely have. No, it was a college. Sorry,
Morrisville. SUNY Morrisville. Where is that?
It's
in
upstate Morrisville, New York.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, they do have. I think they probably do have a big
like military presence.
Military presence there.
Was there any positive moment on the bus? Was anything good about?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like I was having good conversations with people. I'm like, I'm excited to meet.
A little bit of like mini Mitt Romney.
There were, but there were also other people like me who were like, who the hell do those people think they are? Mm-hmm. You know, like let's slow our rolls. We're not even there yet. Like, and the person next to me was not that type of person.
Thank
like
God.
They were definitely chatting. We both were talking shit.
Okay.
Oh, for sure. I would say there were a lot of gays.
Okay.
And we all banded together.
Mm-hmm.
We got to the campus. They told us our dorm rooms, and we put our stuff down. They immediately say, "Hand in your phones." Hand in your phones.
You didn't know about this either?
No. Hand in your phones. Here's a notepad. Here's a piece of paper and a pen. You can start writing letters. Writing letters? I walked into my room. 6 massive spiders. Massive spiders. I'm crying.
You're already crying.
I'm crying.
At this point, it's like you almost feel kidnapped.
Yes.
In a way. Yeah.
Yes. I'm crying. I'm killing the spiders. I'm freaking out. And I sat down at the desk and I started writing my parents a letter.
Being like, pick me up.
I was basically like, I can't even put into words what this experience has been like so far.
You just got there.
And I just got there. I was like, I just killed 6 spiders. They took my phone away from me. And everyone here wants to be in the military.
Did you have a roommate?
He showed up a little bit later.
Okay.
So we get there, we get our shirts, we get our uniforms.
How'd you feel in the shirt?
I didn't feel great. It definitely was a white shirt. And it was definitely summertime, and I was definitely tucking it into a khaki. So like, it was brutal.
Right.
It was brutal what they were doing. They call us down to the courtyard.
Okay.
They said, boys, it's time to learn how to make a bed.
You're kidding.
Joe, I swear.
It's time to learn how to make a bed.
Yeah, and
okay, continue.
And you think that making a bed is easy.
I almost don't.
There were rulers involved. They took out rulers.
Like the actual military.
Yeah.
Okay.
The actual
this was your Cadet Kelly, it really was.
So this is, we get down to the courtyard, they said, you're meeting your Marine.
Your Marine?
We had 1 Marine for our building, our floor.
Who was your Marine?
Marco. Sergeant Marco. He was teaching us how to make the bed. He said that it needs to be proper folds and needs to be tucked in. There was rulers involved. This had to be 6 inches away, like whatever. The perfect fold. And they would come in and do room checks. Bed checks.
Like, again, military.
Joe.
What happened if your bed wasn't made right? They would toss it. They would toss the whole bed.
They would throw the entire bed and sometimes toss your clothes.
And you're not made for this.
I'm not made for this. Like, they were beating me down. Like, and I just, like, wasn't ready for it.
Right.
I slept on top of my bed with a towel over me.
It's like prison.
Yes.
That's like the opening scene of Orange is the New Black. Or like, Chapman, don't go under that bed. Just sleep on top of it with a blanket on top of it.
Exactly. I feel like I was in Orange is the New Black.
Yeah. Red, white, and blue is the new rainbow.
He showed up, my roommate. He was honest. He was honestly really nice. He was kind of cute. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think there's ever been like a new stranger introduced to your life where you weren't like immediately in love with them.
Yeah, I kind of was like, whoa. And like we didn't have our phones, so like we just had a talk for a week. And you know, like by the end of it, like I fell in love.
Yeah, of course.
He slept on the floor.
He slept on the floor.
He slept on the floor.
Was he going into the military?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
He was going, and he was like doing crunches in the room.
And you were like, whoa, you could do a lot of crunches.
Yeah, it was like, you're doing crunches and push-ups like right before we go to bed. Like, that's insane. I'm just like laying there like, whoa. Do you want a snack? Yeah, so he slept on the floor. It'll come back to me. No, I don't remember his name.
No, I can't recall your face. I still got love for you. Your push-ups like a pattern.
We stayed in contact for a while afterwards.
Really?
But then it fizzled.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Please.
You learned to make a bed.
Yeah.
The roommate came.
Yeah.
And now you're being lined up.
And we had to make our bed. We made our bed. So it took a while for us to make our beds right. Because they would come in and they would say no or yes.
Would they flippy flop?
No. They understood at the beginning that we were still learning how to make a bed.
Right.
So they told us to. They said every single morning before we leave here and line up, every single morning you need to come out of your room at 5 o'clock in the morning and stand on opposite sides of the door with your arms crossed as the Marine comes into your room and does a room check.
So prison.
Prison/military. Yes. And the feeling that you had
I'm sure.
when the Marine went into your room and it was silent. And then if he was to say anything, oh, Joe, all bets were off.
I'm not saying this in a funny way. I'm shocked that you did not kill yourself at this trip.
No.
Like, actually.
No.
Because it could have been the final straw.
I know. I do believe, though, that this experience, while it was definitely a crazy one to process, I did learn a lot about what I wanted and what I didn't want any longer.
Okay, love that. I also just remember that the first time I heard this story, this happened in 2013. The first time Andrew ever told me this story was last year. The first time I ever found out what Boys State was. Like, I knew he went and he came back, and we'll hear how the conversation went when he came back, but I had no idea what it was until last year.
Yeah, because it was like, you get back from this and like people ask you how it was and you're like, it was good.
I would not be. I'd be
was
like,
fine.
I'm writing a memoir. Like,
It was. I should have while it was fresh in my mind, I should have really written it down. They lined us up outside. We're in ranks now, so it's groups of 4, and we're being taught how to march.
holding a gun.
Bottle
As a gun.
Basically, I guess, like in our hands, right, to walk. They would stop us and they would do the drop and give me 10, right?
You were giving.
We were doing push-ups. We were doing mountain climbers. They were making us do burpees. I was in khaki
Do you
pants.
think that you're a fitness trainer to like prove to Marco the Marine that you can do it now as an adult?
I think I'm a fitness trainer now because I wanted to learn to enjoy it. To enjoy it.
Yeah,
to like
okay.
not feel like I
It
was
punishment.
being punished
Yeah.
by someone telling me to do a burpee. Because they were screaming at us.
And you're like outside in the blaring heat now.
Blaring heat outside, Joe. And we were like on asphalt. And like it was like really hot.
And you were in khakis with a white
in
shirt tucked into the belt.
khakis.
With running shoes.
With running shoes. Like my
And
little
everyone
Asics.
around you is trying to run for office or become a military person.
Yes.
And they're all twunks.
And they're all twunks. With exception. Like there
Yeah.
were other kids like me. And
Yeah.
like we again were
Kids
all
like you. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
there were other kids like me. So we would march around. If you needed to greet everybody with the proper greeting of the day. If it was good morning, sir. Good afternoon, sir. If you said good afternoon, sir, and it was the morning, Joe, it was over. It was game over.
What do you mean?
You're immediately punished. By punished, it means that person will tell your Marine. The Marine will then line up everybody in your county.
Group.
In your county, because we had counties. I was Spafford County. I didn't mention this, but each dorm was a county. So you were running for council, and then you were running the ones that won council would then run for assembly.
Right.
Then from there you keep rising the rank. So you would have a representative from your county representing you.
Got it.
But for my county, he would line us all up. The person that didn't do the proper greeting wouldn't do any of the movements, would have to watch us all do the push-ups, all do the burpees, all do the
What?
abs. Yeah, they would
So
make
it
them
was
watch.
psychological torture because
Yeah,
if you fucked up, you didn't have to do anything wrong. You didn't have to do the workout.
no,
And then everyone else was punished. So then they all hated you.
yes, correct.
What?
Yeah, no, it
I
actually
almost
was.
want my dad in here. I want to know if this is exactly what the military was
I
like.
kind of wonder. I do wonder if like this was genuinely like what it was like, because it got to a point where we all were like, what the fuck to the other, like to the kid.
Yeah, because
right?
you'd be like, you fucked up and now I have to do burpees.
Yeah, because it gets to a point where you're believing it. You're like,
Yes.
this is normal, and like we have to all just do what is
Yeah.
expected of us. Why would you give them the wrong greeting of the day, you idiot? Check your damn watch.
And then there goes your political campaign.
There goes your political campaign.
I'm
Everyone
not
hates
gonna vote for
you.
you for councilman.
No, absolutely not.
Because you fucked up.
Because you fucked up.
And I had to do
And there was
push-ups.
one guy in our building
No.
that kept fucking up. Would slip out with a curse, would slip out with something, and it was just like we were always being disciplined.
And he had to just stand there and watch.
Oh my God, it's coming back to me. What was the phrase they would say? Oh my God, it was something about discipline.
I'm so scared.
Oh, I wish I remembered. While this is all happening, again, people are still running for office. I wish, Joe.
Did you run at all?
No, I gave up immediately because
And you didn't even try for councilman?
No, I tried, and then I was like, you know what? I was so
You had bigger
insecure.
fish to fry. You were like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make it through the week.
Literally, I was like, I got there and I saw everybody else around me, and honestly, I was so severely insecure.
Yeah.
And I was like, also, what am I doing here? I don't really want to be here, so I'm just gonna fade in the background.
Yeah. Aw.
If I brought my instrument, I would have skipped out on more than half of this.
Wait, I forgot about this. Wait.
People brought their instruments to be in the band. If I brought my freaking French horn, I would have skipped out on half of the conditioning.
What does that mean?
The conditioning?
No, I understand that conditioning is when you're doing the like learning how to become a military person.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? They just let them not do it?
They would say, okay, if you're part of the band, now it's your time to go. And they would go and they would learn the pieces.
You think that was also scary?
Oh, I'm sure
like
the
Whiplash?
Conductor was insane. Like, I almost want to interview people that were in the band.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Conductor was insane.
But you could have avoided like all of that physical torture if you brought your French horn.
Most of it,
and you
yeah.
had no idea.
No.
This is something about you. I don't think the research is often done.
The research isn't often done. I normally get like this opportunity and I'm like, I'm going to do it. That's why I would have been in the submarine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because I would have seen the overall finished product or what I'm going to or what I'm doing, and I would just get in.
This sounds perfect.
This is amazing. This is perfect for me.
I can't wait to tell everyone I'm going down to the Titanic.
Exactly. And I couldn't wait to tell everyone I went to SUNY Morrisville.
And that you won.
And that I won.
Election.
That I won the election. I did get my phone at one point. I must have stole it, or they must have given it to us for like 10 minutes. And I texted you and your sister.
Me and Amanda in a group chat, and you said, "Get me out of here."
Like that was like my actual genuine cry for help.
And this is the thing about young, and you now too, actually. It's so hard to read when you're being genuine.
I know.
Because usually when you're in situations of distress, you're never like clarifying how dire the situation is. Like you could have your arm chopped off, and you'd be like,
ow.
Like, you guys, no, help, my arm's off, help. And I'd be like, shut up.
I'm freaking
like,
out, my arm is off.
And you were like, no, this is like a military camp. I feel like I'm in prison. Help me.
Help me.
I just got my phone. Help me. And I'm pretty sure I was like, how's gay camp?
Yes, your immediate response was, how is gay camp?
And then I don't think I heard from Andrew again for another 3 days.
Because I think they took my phone away from me then. So I'm like,
this whole time I am just sitting in my house waiting for Andrew to come home. Like I'm sitting at my laptop on Tumblr waiting for Andrew's return. Yeah. Just doing nothing.
I kind of felt like, that was my one opportunity to be like, I need to talk to somebody and say like, please get me out. Call someone. Yeah, you would have done nothing. I probably should have texted my parents being like, I really actually need to get out. I'm sure I texted them too at that time.
And they were like, Andrew.
They were like, it's fine. I'm a dramatic person and we know that. And I will say a lot of these events were definitely traumatic, but by the end of it, we'll talk about the end of it, I was kind of like, I met some lifelong friends.
Okay.
Which I don't have
Did Marco get fired?
You're never going to believe this. You're never going to believe this. Yes. But no. What happened was he quit on us. Because he couldn't take it any longer. What happened was this. There was one day. Oh, I didn't even mention, we went for a 2 to 3 mile run every morning.
And you couldn't.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. So I had to be in the back
with Marco.
No, a different Marine who was actually very, very nice. He was like very supportive and being like, "You got this. Like we can walk if you want to. Like whatever." Because I was like, "What the?" I said to him too. I think I remember saying to this Marine, I was like, "Honestly, I didn't realize that I was signing up for this. Like I thought I was going here to like meet other people and like." Do the little like play pretend running for office thing, and he was like, no, this is definitely like more geared towards like people who want to be in the military. What? They should have told me that on the interview. Whatever. But one of the days we were doing a lecture or something, and we would congregate in this big arena for the lecture, so like all 1,000 people would be there.
I forgot about the lecture.
And before every single lecture, we would sing the alma mater,
which we sang at the
beginning. They would like play different videos. It was definitely
what were the videos?
It was definitely like military-based videos, and it was also like a lot of country music that was being played. I'll never forget Toby Keith's "Made in America."
Can you drop a few lines?
Yeah, it's like, he's not prejudiced, he's just made in America, born in the heart of land, raised up his family. King James and Uncle Sam. He's got the red, white, blue flying high on the farm. Semper Fi tattooed on his left arm. Spent a little more in the store for a tag in the back that says USA. Don't find nothing that he can't fix. I don't really remember this. The rest.
Are you crying? Whoa. Okay. So it was like, I mean, I'm going to put it in my words because I do feel like you're closer to the situation here. In my opinion, what I'm hearing, what I'm learning is this was like, was it almost very like, would you say it was like a Republican run camp, like a conservative camp?
I definitely would say that it was a conservative run camp, but not with the like, I would say that people probably leaned more conservative, but it was definitely just instilling nationalism.
Right. So it was like
regardless of the party. It was a nationalist.
Nationalist
agenda.
Camp. And like they were trying to make sure that you as like a 17-year-old going into college, like your priority would be like America, discipline, and politics.
Correct.
Actually, when you think about that, that's really scary. Like, I mean, I hate to throw around the G word, the groom word in a situation like this, but it does feel like you were being groomed to be like a nationalist politician.
Correct.
And like
that was what was going on.
I don't know how like physical and mental torture and like that sort of disciplining plays out in the mind. Mm-hmm. But I can also imagine that, like, the kids who were fucking up every day weren't, like, the cool ones and weren't, like, the confident ones and weren't the ones who felt comfortable in a place like that.
No.
Like, so I imagine that you're kind of beating down on the losers.
The losers or, like, the bad guys.
The bad guys?
Like, they were giving, like...
They didn't care as much?
Yeah, like, they were, like, the bad kids.
Deserve to be punished.
Yes.
Corporal punishment is happening here.
And they kind of also were kind of like, yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They think they were more being sent there by their parents as like military camp?
Yeah.
Which and again, you said, Mom and Dad, can I please go?
Because I'm top of the class.
So yeah, they come to schools looking for kids who are top of the class, who typically are, I mean, kind of losers.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's instill Made in the USA by who?
Toby Keith.
Is it called Made in the USA?
Made in America.
Made in America by Toby Keith in their minds.
Yeah.
And then send them out into college.
Well, because I think that the whole point was, like, if you're going to take the top of the class, like, are they the smartest, right? Like, they're going to become something. So they want the future leaders of the world to have these beliefs.
There is a documentary that came out about Boys State that neither of us have watched.
No, I haven't
watched it. Which we should watch. It's called Boys State.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we'll make an episode of Good Children, the TV series about this, and ideally an entirely separate movie about this. But I do think I should watch that. I personally want to watch the documentary.
I think I'm going to have to watch it.
Yeah.
We're going to watch it together, and you're like, Andrew, are you sobbing? Like, yeah. Well, New York's Boys State is the only Boys State that was run by the Marines. Yeah.
What were the rest of them run by?
They were like, that's why I've talked to other people from different states who went to Boys State, and they were like, that was not my experience. They were not run by
like fun.
Yeah, it was more as aligned with what I thought it was going to be, like with like running for office and like meeting people and like camaraderie and like all that stuff. But ours was definitely a lot more military focused, but just New York State, which is really interesting. It's like, why are they breeding the New York State boys?
The boys.
I hate that sentence. They're breeding the New York State boys.
They're breeding the boys. No.
We only had 10 minutes to eat.
What was the food like?
It was like what you could have expected military food to be. It was like always like
a sloppy Joe.
Yeah, it was like a sloppy Joe. It was like a meatloaf. It was like a potato. It was like that stuff. And
was it good?
It was not bad.
Right.
I had no choice. I had 10 minutes to eat.
So that was easy.
Oh my God.
That's how you eat.
When they told me 10 minutes, I was like,
that's plenty of time.
I don't want to sit here for any longer than that. Although I wish I did, because again, once you left, you had to get back to marching. You had to get back to all that stuff that I wanted to avoid. So I was like, the cafeteria.
How many hours of sleep were you given?
We probably got to go to sleep or in our beds around 10, 11. And then we had to be up by about 4:30.
4:30?
We were running at 5. We had to be standing outside of our doors at 5 o'clock in the morning. We were running at 5:30.
You were awake at 4, like you were going to the fucking airport.
Yeah, like I was going
for a run.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I want to circle back to the
Woken up by trumpet.
What?
We were woken
like
up by a trumpet.
like Taps is playing.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to circle back to the lectures.
The lectures, yeah.
So what were they besides Toby Keith?
I mean, they would bring in different government officials, politicians.
What side of
both?
Okay.
They did do a good job of bringing in both.
It was
parties.
bipartisan.
Yes.
Okay.
To listen to different, again, but everything had to come back to America. It wasn't like they were.
It's like 2013 Tumblr. You know?
They weren't talking about beliefs. They were just talking about the country.
And in defense, in 2013, being pro-America was not the unchicest thing in the entire world. Like Lana Del Rey was the face of America. You know what I mean? Like it was Lana Del Rey and A$AP Rocky and Obama.
Yeah.
Like, America was kind of in.
Yeah.
At this point, it was still Obama. America was somehow still like cool. We weren't like blue pilled yet.
No. It was definitely it definitely was interesting. When you're there, I'll be honest, like it's so easy to feed in.
It? Just like
because it is like in that way.
The fact that there's going to be multiple episodes of this show that are just Andrew joined a cult.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a cult. Like you go into a cult and like the first day you're thinking, what the hell am I doing here? The second day you're like, oh my God, okay, whatever. The third day you're like,
I'm in and I'm going to make sure I fucking win. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like hand
I
across your heart.
This country.
I'm like, made in America.
Was that played every day?
Every single day. Yeah, with our alma mater. The alma mater we had to sing every single day, and we had to hold each other as we sang it.
Were you crying?
I didn't cry, but probably the last day I cried.
Okay. So these officials came in. They were like talking how great America is. Yes. America's amazing.
America's amazing. A lot of like veterans, a lot of people in the military would talk, and just like talk about their stories, why they joined the military, all the different things.
Okay.
Band would be playing.
Mainly this was a grooming camp for kids who wanted to go into the military.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's the main thing that's happening.
Period.
Okay.
Point blank. Yeah.
And you just happened to be there.
I just happened to be there, and I
wanted attention.
Because I wanted attention. I wanted to get into college.
Yeah.
And then obviously while I'm there, I'm like, this is not getting me into college.
Did it help?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Absolutely not. I did write my essay to get into Georgetown about Boys State to tie it back to Bill Clinton. So it was like, if I could get anything out of this, it's that.
I'm confused. Like you were like, dude, you think the only thing Bill Clinton had going for him to get into that college was Boys State?
I didn't think that was the only thing, but I think it was
also
one
had
of
a million other things going for you as well.
And you know, I was like, this is just the icing on the cake. I was the one student chosen from my school to go. That felt like a big
privilege.
Felt big. Yeah, it felt like a privilege.
So Marco,
we're at the lecture one day. We get back to our dorm room.
Oh my God.
Everything is everywhere. The beds are in the hallway. The clothes are scattered all over the room. Shit is thrown everywhere. Everywhere.
This isn't even funny.
Everywhere. We get back and we're like, what is going on? So now now everybody is like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Like, we don't respect him. That's so immature. I don't care who you are. I don't give a fuck if you're a Marine. You don't do that. So now we're all feeling that. So now we're all being bitches. We're like, whatever. We set our rooms back up. We talk to the higher ups. We're like, that's inappropriate. Like, no one should do that. Don't touch my clothes. Don't touch my clothes. And then Marco comes back and we're all like, are you kidding me? And like, he's having this power dynamic now because he's the Marine.
So he's like, I should have done this.
Yeah. He's like, you deserve that.
For what?
Because the beds weren't made properly in a few different rooms. So he threw everything. He went on a crazy rampage. From there, he decided to take a step back, and we got a new Marine.
Do you think that like the higher ups got involved and they
Yeah.
were like, you can no longer be with this group?
Yeah. And he was like, they deserve it. Right? So that was like day 4.
Imagine the hurt in Marco's heart. Imagine the trauma he endured.
That's what we needed to break down Marco. We were like, break
Yeah.
Marco, what are you going through?
What was he going through?
Because that was day like 3.
Right.
And we had like 4 more days.
Jesus.
Marco came
It was
back.
7 days?
7 days. Marco came back.
Did he apologize? Did
He apologized, and then by the end of it, we all were like loving him.
I can't believe this. This is really psychological torture.
We all were loving him.
So you had a new Marine. Was the new Marine sweeter?
Very sweet. Very kind. I forgot his name, but he was very kind.
Okay.
But he was there for like 2 seconds.
Right.
I will say the silver lining out of all of this, there was like every night you got to play games.
What kind of games?
You would go to this like specific auditorium, and there was like board games, there was card games. People were still like campaigning for themselves, but that was beside the point. At this point, I was no longer in the campaigning. There were ice cream bars.
Oh, so it was fine.
This is where my group went.
Yes, because you had a group.
I had a group.
A gaggle?
I had a gaggle. And one of them I found out was gay. And I'm still kind of friendly with him.
Was he currently gay?
No. Me and Patrick.
Okay.
And he was so nice. We like definitely shared a lot of the same like similarities. And obviously that makes sense. We both didn't want to be there. We would chat. We had about 4 of us. Yeah, we had about 4 of us that were just like, why did we do this?
Right.
Like, I want to call my parents. I want to go home.
And those were like kind of like the gay, like GSA, if you will.
The GSA. But we were all prepping for the showcase.
What the hell, Andrew? This is like literally a movie. What's the show? This is actually Cadet Kelly. Like, it is truly Cadet Kelly. You had an exact Cadet Kelly experience.
I did. We were preparing for the showcase.
Marco is your Christy Carlson Romano.
And he was.
And
she
he
portrayed
was.
Marco in a perfect way. The showcase, when our parents would come down. And
Did you have to do the little...
They would watch us march.
So it's literally Cadet Kelly. Like to a T. Okay.
They would watch
You
us
went
march.
to
We had a
military-
routine.
You went to boot camp.
I went to boot camp, Joe. And I got back here and pretended like nothing happened. And I was just at a 7-day intensive military beatdown.
And you were like, it was good. Okay, so the showcase.
The showcase, it definitely felt like there was like stress around it. As my parents came down, this was the day. This was like, I have been waiting for this day for the past week. Like, I can't wait to see my parents.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna cry. Like, it, and marching that day felt so good because I was like, we're not gonna get yelled at.
Right.
It's not happening. We're not doing any more push-ups. Like, I get to just release.
Just get to
go.
march.
I should have weighed myself at the beginning and then weighed myself at the end. Because
I'm
at
shocked
that point,
you didn't do that.
At that
I'm
point,
sure
I
you
had
did,
to-
Andrew.
I'm sure I did. I'm sure I lost weight for sure, because that was a week of like a lot of psychological and physical warfare. And then the showcase happened. The parents were in the lecture. They heard the band perform, and then we dispersed. We got to go home.
Did you like hug? Did you say bye to Marco?
We said bye to Marco. And that was a hard
Why
bye.
do I feel like I remember you telling me that Marco was having problems with his girlfriend?
He did. Joe, oh my God. I was going to bring that up. I was like, I think that was going on at the time that he like flipped the shit.
Flipped out, yeah.
It's because he was probably going through something with his girlfriend. And because we had a heart-to-heart one night, me and Marco. I was able to get
Marco had a heart-to-heart.
I was able to get Marco in the corner and we had a heart-to-heart. Yeah. Because obviously we couldn't drink. I think that they were drinking. I feel like the Marines were drinking.
Oh, for sure.
We weren't drinking, obviously. Right. But I do remember it being like that feeling of the party type deal. Like we were having fun. The music was playing. And then Marco was in the corner. I was talking to Marco and was like, what's going on? And then obviously, like, I do have a presence sometimes that I can allow people to open up to me. And I feel like Marco just let it go.
And he was like, I'm having problems in my relationship.
I'm having problems in my relationship. And I was like, tell me why. Tell me what's going on.
So what would you say as your 17-year-old self when you walked away from that experience? What did you take with you? What did you say? Like, what was your... Were you happy with the experience in the end? Were you proud of yourself? Like, what was the feeling?
I, at the end of the experience, was proud of myself for getting through it. I will 100% feel that. I was like, I ran every single day. Like,
yeah,
I learned discipline and I experienced, like, I endured hardship. Is what I genuinely felt.
Right.
But I did walk away from it and I felt different in a way of discipline. I wish I still had that, like making my bed, but like after that I was making my bed every single day. Right. I was like, I was being respectful. Like they were teaching those principles, which I was like, okay, I get it. But then I didn't really think about the negatives until a few years later where I was like, oh, whoa, that was actually kind of traumatizing.
Yeah.
For somebody who like wasn't comfortable with himself,
right,
and like knew what was going on and felt comfortable in his body and all these different things. Because when you go to something like that and you are the fat kid in a group of military men, it's so much easier for you to be like, oh my God, like, yeah, like I am the problem.
Yeah,
like,
there's something wrong with me,
and everyone's looking at me.
Yeah, that was, I mean, through and through the most painful part of adolescence, I think, is that feeling. Like, even when we went to football camp, being like, we're the only ones who are not like able to run the full mile, except for like the other fat kids that we befriend, because like it was do or die.
Yeah.
So the idea of being in a situation so heightened by that must have done a toll psychologically on your mental health.
And I did leave with people that I felt comfortable with and that I could stay in contact with.
That's great.
And I do believe that I'm going to reach out to Patrick.
You should.
I definitely have forgot a lot of things during that trip, but I also think that I blocked them out.
Wow.
I feel honestly lighter sharing the story.
Hopefully
I think that
made someone else feel lighter as well.
I hope so too. And if anybody else is also experiencing boy state or girl state.
You're kidding. You're joking the fuck out of me.
No, there's girl staters.
I feel like you would have been so much happier at Girl State.
I did talk to people who went to Girl State and they were like, it was fun.
You're kidding.
We had fun.
What is Girl State? Same thing, politics?
I think it's all basically politics. It's more about like, I guess, the nationalism, but like bringing people together. It was like finding common bonds.
It's more about the nationalism, but bringing people together, bringing nationalists together. That's really special, actually.
Yeah, when you look at it that way, it's really
all
special.
about community.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you for telling that story.
Thank you. I'm like, this episode was different.
This episode was different. It's a story we've been waiting to tell on this podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this Diane Sawyer interview episode of Good Children. You know exactly where to find us across all platforms at Good Children Pod. I'm on Instagram at Joe Hegyes and TikTok at Be Quiet Joe.
I'm on Instagram at Andrew Muscarella and on TikTok at Andrew_MUSKY.
Are we at 10K yet?
No.
And don't forget to do your homework.
Like, comment, subscribe, rate, review. Write a little something. It's been like a little dry. Write a little something. We want to read them. And don't forget to do your homework and spread the good word. We've been meeting so many people lately that have been telling us that their friends are listening now. Like, they're sending it out nonstop. Yeah. Like, that is how it's being spread. Obviously, we're not currently working with a network. So, like, this is all happening on our own. So, you spreading the word is helping more than you can actually know.
25 people each. If we all send this to 25 people each, that's all I'm saying. Next year, Camp Good Children will be Boys State. Imagine you get to Camp Good Children and Andrew starts saying, get down and do burpees. Start doing mountain climbers. He says, give me your phone.
Wait, I actually would die at a Boy State day. Like, you don't know. It's like a 5-day camp, and then one of the days is actually
Boy State.
It's like you wake up at 5 a.m, so you all experience it. Here in the the Cherry Valley, Morrisville campus rings with cheer. That's where our Legion Boys State meets this year. We learn to live together, learn democracy, a melting pot of color, creed, and nationality.
I'm getting it.
You're getting it. It's
One more
catchy.
time. I want to do it this time.
Okay.
I know every word. Okay.
Here in the Cherry Valley, Morrisville campus rings with cheer. That's where our Legion Boys State meets this year. We learn to live together, learn democracy, a melting pot of color, creed, and nationality.